Welcome back. I want to talk about, I talked to some of my married friends, right? My friend got married, right? It's like all these fantasies, all these ideas that you see in media, you see in movies, right? That the things that they don't show you is that what happened after you get married, right? Like they push this idea, oh, you gotta get married when you graduate from college, when you find a job, when you find a girlfriend, you gotta get married, right? Like the step to get married, like the next transition in life is to get married, right? And they say happily ever after. The thing that they don't tell you is that what happened after you get married, right? So I asked my friend, well, you guys get married now, right? So now what? What's the difference between now and before you got married? They flat out said there's nothing. There's nothing. It's just they have the same life. So if that's the case, why even get married? If nothing changes, the only thing changes is that you got a paper saying you're married and you got a few benefits and you're in a different tax bracket. That's the only difference is. If that's the only difference that changes, why even get married in the first place? It's not, to me, it's not incentivizing marriage at all. What's the point? You could just do this if it's the same thing, right? If you're doing the same thing before marriage and you're doing the same thing after marriage, then what's the point of getting married for? It doesn't make any sense. You could do the same thing. You could still love each other before and after. You guys are still in a relationship before and after. What's the point of getting married for if it's the same thing, right? You guys are still going to Home Depot on a Saturday and a Sunday, fixing your house. You guys could still buy a house. You guys could still have a family, married or unmarried, right? The only difference is that paper, that government contract. So what's the difference? There's nothing changes. If there's no significant changes, right? I can see like how butterflies, right? From a caterpillar, they went through metamorphosis, right? And they became butterflies, so they got wings now, right? If marriage is like that, like if you get married, then you morph yourself and you get something like a wings, have ability to fly. That's probably an incentive to get married, right? That's probably one incentive to get married because there's a significant change in life, right? You spread your wing, you grow a pair of limbs, you have extra pair of arms or something like that. I'm just being facetious, but I'm just saying those kind of things, right? But if you're the same before married and get married, what's the benefit besides there being a different tax brackets? You could still have children without getting the contract, right? You could still be boyfriend and girlfriend, right? Right? You can still have children without signing a contract. That's my main point. Like if you're transitioning yourself from a couple, an unmarried couple, to a married couple, right? And to me, marriage is just basically you make a pledge to the Lord, a vow with the Lord that you guys are married together to death do you part, and that's it. And by saying that, you're married and you don't need a contract with the government. You can still have kids by saying that, right? But the government does not dictate whether you can have a kid or not, right? Where does it say that you can only have a kid when you're married by the government? Where does it say that? Right? When you make a vow, a pact with the Lord, saying you guys promise to love you guys in front of the Lord, right? Right? Thereby, you guys are married already. Say in front of the minister, has a witness, right? Making your vows in front of the witness, in front of the Lord, right? Kiss yourself, death do your part, make a promise. There you go, you guys married. After that, you go to your honeymoon, have kids, and you don't have to sign a contract for that. But no, it's 2023. People have to have a contract, right? There's no difference at all between getting a contract and not getting a contract. It's like, what's the point? If you live in your life day to day as you were before you got married, I don't see any reason why to get married at all, right? In most culture out there, right? They get married, they say in front of their religion, and that's it. In most culture out there, husband and wife don't even have a contract, and they have kids. They live happily ever after. Right? It's only in the Western culture you need to have the contract. Right? You go to Southeast Asia, couples are married together Couple in the rural area marrying each other. They don't have a contract with the court within their government. They just say they marry each other, right? They just say they marry each other. They move in with each other, and then they have kids. That's it. They live the life normally. And then when you come to the state, right? When you come to the state, they think that you have to have a contract in order to say they're married with each other. No, you just got a contract with the government. That's it. Now you just life over, right? I seen culture in Southeast Asia. Husband and wife marry with each other, have for so many years have a happy marriage, right? Bet they didn't get the government involved. They had their kids. The kids are grown up and they're still married. Bet they just don't have the paper to prove that they're married. Bet to them, since they already promised each other they're married, so by their court they're married. By the witnesses, by them having witnesses, they're married. By them making their promises to their deity, they're married. Right? It's only in the Western Hemisphere that people believe that in order to say that you're officially married, you have to have a contract. Right? Because of that incentive, that tax bracket, that healthcare benefits, of that stuff, right? That stuff that they want, right? But the point is, like, if there's nothing changed prior to having the contract and after you have the contract, besides that, there's nothing changes. So if that's the case, why even marry in the first place? I don't see that. I don't see the intent to get married. All right. I mean, can you guys just say you guys love each other and just live your life and then decide when to have a kid? Right? You can still have a kid without the government involved. At this point, I'm just repeating myself. Right? I'm not convinced. Right? Try to convince me. Leave a comment below. Try to convince me what's the point? Why should I get married if there's nothing changes after that? Right? Try to convince me, why should I get married? Right? Why should I get married to the government if I already married to the Lord, have our own ceremony, and say to the Lord that we are committed to each other, that we do not want to get the government involved? Right? Try to convince me why do I have to sign a contract if I already promised the Lord that I'm marrying this specific person, right? So it just baffles me. Like, why do you have to sign a contract? What, to make it official? By the government? No, man. The last thing you need is another contract from the government, all right? We have government in our lives. We have too much government in our lives. The last thing you need is more government in your life, right? The government is already intruding in our privacy and everything in our life. The last thing we need is government. And the law is working against the men's favor anyway, so why does that contract incentivize men to get married? You got to be a simp to fall for that. You got to be a clueless guy who still believe in the traditional marriage with the government. If you're a traditional guy, if you're a godly person, you do not need the government to say that you are married to a woman. All you need is both party commitment and the promises to the Lord and some witnesses. Then you're married. And a minister, right? Then you're married. You don't need to get involved with the government signing this contract, go to City Hall and sign a contract. I don't see that. It's not incentivizing me to get married. If that's the process, if guys have to choose, they just rather not get married, right? They just rather be like the passport bros and go overseas and get married, right? But I think that's one incentive too, right? If a woman overseas want to get married, want to be a U.S. citizens, right? That's what they do to incentivize people. If they want to be a U.S. citizen, they want to get married. They have to get married. They have to get officially married, right? If that's the case, I'm not bringing you back, because that means that I'm bounded by the government as well, right? So I guess guys are just checking out, like, all right, we just won't marry. We'll just go overseas, bang girls, and just come back. I mean, that's how I see it. But I don't know. Let me know. Do you agree or disagree? I mean, is marriage just only bounded by a contract with the government? Can we get married without the government? Can we just promise to each other that we're husband and wife without government involved? Let me know if you agree. If I'm missing something, let me know. Put it in the comments so everyone else can learn from each other. I'm still learning. But on that note, guys, thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video. Peace.